Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And I was gonna start this video with some good news, but then right before I started recording, some really good news passed by me. Like, I'm sure at the moment everyone is very well aware that we're facing a Gunpla shortage, and that also right now more and more people are getting into Gundam and into Gunpla. So in order to fix that issue, Bandai will be building a new factory to produce model kits. And of course, the main model kit that Bandai produces is Gunpla. More details will be released at a later date, but right now they have confirmed that they acquired the land to build the factory on, and they're planning to have it up and running by 2024. And by that time, the plastic shortage will hopefully also have sorted itself out. So hopefully a lot of really cool issues will be coming our way by 2024. And then on to the news thing that I was planning to open this video with, because today the Metal Robot Damashi Side MS G Parts Hrududu and Advanced Parts set went on sale. And boy are we getting a lot of stuff with this set. Now, at first I thought I was gonna have to score myself 2 of these sets in order to make the perfectly symmetrical Hazel, but we're actually getting 2 Hrududus in this set. And fortunately, I found that out before placing my order. And then to make the package whole, we also get the advanced parts that consist of extra thrusters for the feet, an extra beam rifle, a backpack that allows us to mount 2 of the shield boosters on it, and a new head that can either be displayed with the mono eye sensor extended or stored, although it does require some parts forming. And yes, of course I got one, with the help of NordVPN, because if I try to go to the Japanese P-Bandai website, it just automatically redirects me to this page that asks me to select my region, but my region isn't on there. So that's nice. And if you use my link down below or the code kkrt, not only will NordVPN give you access to whatever, whenever, but you'll also get a sweet discount and support the channel. And then if you want the Hazel add-on parts, those will be coming your way in September for 9,350 yen, around 85 US. And then also this week we got a bunch of Cucuruz Doan's Island news. On Friday, they released this handy-dandy chart to explain the relationships between all of the characters, which is something that could be handy for the folks who aren't super up-to-date with either the original Gundam series or this slightly different adoption of it. But what is probably going to be a lot more interesting for us is, first of all, this promotional art for the movie, which doesn't just have one Luggun carrying a Zaku, but 2 Lugguns carrying a Zaku. Well, 2 Lugguns carrying a Zaku each. I guess they're really pushing this feature of the aircraft. Like, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a model kit of a Luggun with the ability to carry a Zaku, which could then potentially open the doors for more non-mobile suit Gunpla, which is something at this point we really need, because in the past they used to do not a lot, but at least some. But now I even gotta think when the last non-mobile suit or non-mobile armor thing was that they did. And then at the same time we also got 2 non-region locked trailers. There's a short 30-second one and a longer 60-second one. And of course, both are linked down below. The traditional animation does look really good, but the 3D animation is still somewhat hit or miss. Like, when it's a really fast-moving scene or where the mobile suits are almost standing still, then it does look really good, but when they're averagely moving or when it's a slightly slower fight, it does still look out of place. And what really irked me was the scene of the Gundam casually walking down a slope. But then the most important thing for some of us is, of course, the Gunpla that we're getting. They already announced that we were getting an RX-7802 and a Doan custom Zaku, as P-Bandai, but now we also have models, images of the actual models. And the good news is, you're not actually going to be missing out on a lot when it comes to the high-grade RX-7802 Gundam, Cucuruz Doan's Island version. Now, I had this entire paragraph written up on how it was going to be basically identical, because if you look at the runners of the RX-7802, there aren't actually any cutoff points. But since I wrote this paragraph of mine, we did get confirmation that it is literally going to come with all of the accessories from the regular version. Like, the only thing that's different is the colors are going to be slightly different and the marking stickers are going to be slightly different. So only the true completionists will have to worry about this release. Also, the price is the same. Like, I don't have it written down here. It was like 2,530 yen, if I remember correctly, around $20. Doan Zaku, on the other hand, then might look like it's going to be a mostly new kit, but partially because of the price, I do think it's going to reuse quite some things as well. Like 2,200 yen, a little under 20 US, is quite a lot for a Zaku that's just advertised to come with a heat hawk. Usually you'd expect something like 1,800 yen or something like that. So I think it's fairly safe to assume that it's going to be based on the Zaku 2 Type C / Type C5 kit, which, unlike the Gundam, does have quite some cutoff points, but of course, because of the asymmetrical design of Cucuruz Doan's Zaku, we are still going to have quite a bit of leftover parts. But then on the bright side, you'll probably be able to make your very own custom Doan Zaku in various states of disrepair, or maybe use some of those parts with a Zaku you have for a really nice diorama. What still has me worried then is, of course, the amount of color correcting stickers that we're gonna need for this thing. And orders for both of these machines started on Wednesday, and both of them are scheduled for a July release. And then the final piece of Cucuruz Doan's Island news is that the main theme of the movie has been decided. Ugugoe, performed by Hiroko Moriguchi, who is also known as the Queen of Gundam. You could already hear it in the background of the promotional videos that I talked about, but I will also have the full music video linked down below. And on the 1st of June, you can buy the single for 1,430 yen, a little over 10 US, and it'll contain the regular version, an instrumental version, Good Night, and Forever Amuro. And then if you want some more Hiroko Morigoodness, there was of course also the third Gundam cover album, which Area 7 Pro asked me to give my thoughts on. So what better time than to do that now? As with the previous albums, there's something here for everyone. We have a jazzy cover of Tobe Gundam, an even more energetic version of Stand Up to the Victory, a beautiful cover of Meteor, a very interesting version of Turn A Turn with a flute, and much, much more. And my favorites were definitely the jazzy cover of Tobe Gundam and the new version of Meteor. And especially Meteor hit me with a really cool combination of beautiful music and Miss Moriguchi's singing voice. Then the cover of Beyond the Time would have been a very close second, but the second voice sounded off, like it had some kind of effect applied to it to turn it ever so slightly robotic, which is a shame because I really like stuff done by TM Network, like Beyond the Time or Get Wild. But back to Ugugoe now. The song was revealed by Miss Moriguchi herself during the opening of the full-scale new Gundam statue at Lalaport Fukuoka, and she was joined by Toru Furuya, the voice actor of Amuro Ray, who was even cosplaying as his famous character. So if Miss Moriguchi is the queen of Gundam, can we call Furia the king of Gundam, or at the very least, the prince of Gundam? And then as cherry on top, the fans there also got a video message from Yoshiyuki Tomino himself, a message that was displayed on the very large screen next to the new Gundam. Like, I really wish I could have been there. So let's hope that we can all go there soon and experience the crazy amount of things you can do there, like a wide variety of arcade games, Gundam-themed sports games, and of course, the shopping mall. Although, to be honest, you'll most likely find me hanging out in Akihabara once Japan opens up again. And then, if you want to experience the opening ceremony for yourself, I will also have the official digest video linked down below. Then, going back to P-Bandai for a second, they also got some reprints and extra reservations. There was the Master Grade Moonlight Butterfly expansion set that works with both the Turn A and Turn X, the High Grade Gundam Marine type that is also known as the Underwater type Gundam or the Gundiver, and a ton of Gundam F90 stuff in Master Grade. There's the Vanilla F90, the F90 Unit 2, not to be confused with the upgraded F92, which, well, F92, which also got a restock, and then a bunch of different mission packs that are on screen right now. So, F90 fans, knock yourself out, or knock your wallet out. And for those who wanted a Jin Gladiator, that thing and its funky swords got a second round of pre-orders. And I also want to thank everyone that left comments about the sword, because last week I thought those were just some funny looking swords, but it seems like they do have some merit going for them. Like, a lot of people compared it to an executioner sword, which, I mean, I can kind of see it, but I'm not 100% on board with that. But there were also a lot of people that compared it to, Fire Emblem's Armor Slayer, which apparently does work quite well in the real world, as demonstrated by Scalagram in his video where he actually got a custom-made one. For the figure fans then, there was also some good news, because other than the Hazel parts, they also announced the Robot Damashi Zaku 2 High Mobility Type R1. For 7,700 yen, around 65 US, will not only get a very nice MSV-inspired looking Zaku, but it also comes with a nice variety of accessories. There's the usual stuff like a Zaku Bazooka, Zaku Machine Gun, an active Heat Hawk, a deactive Heat Hawk, and a bunch of hands, but we're also getting a large amount of thruster effect parts and the choice between a commander head and a normal head. Pre-orders went live today, and it's currently slated for a September release. Quite a bit more expensive then is the Chogokin RX-93 FF New Gundam that will be releasing in August for 26,400 yen, 205 US. It's got the usual accessories you'd expect from it, but it definitely pushes it to their limits. Especially the opening of the extra large fin funnel here looks super intricate, and we're also getting a really nice effect part to go with it. And if that wasn't enough, the head and the chest sub-sensor can also light up, and it comes with a really cool pedestal. Although, while the whole pedestal itself looks really nice and sturdy, the peg that's actually going to be connecting to the new Gundam itself does look a bit flimsy for holding something that is probably going to be quite heavy. Like, it reminds me of the base for my metal build Hazel. You've got a really heavy figure, well, pretty heavy figure, that you gotta trust with just such a small peg, and that's something that feels wrong. But if you're not a fan of the recolored new Gundam, you can use that money instead to buy the Mobile Suit Ensemble X40 Dendrobium or X41 Neue Ziel, both of which will be going for 14,300 yen each, around 110 US, and will also be coming with an interesting, unique feature. The Dendrobium has normal things like opening weapons bay, a weapon base, beam sabers, extending arm parts, GBWC weapons, and what I think is a piece that replicates the stabbing of the Gerbera Tetra, but then it also comes with the ability to attach the mobile armor to the GBWC while it's still outside, a configuration that kinda reminds me of the Meteor units from Gundam Seed. And then the Neue Ziel comes with the usual stuff like sub-arms and beam sabers, but for some reason also has the ability to house Gato's Zaku 2 high mobility type, because why not? The high mobility type Zaku is sold separately, by the way, but it does come with some extra stuff for it, like a head, a shoulder shield, which I guess are accessories needed for it to fit inside, and then it also comes with some weapons, a machine gun, standard bazooka, and giant bazooka. So while they're definitely cool figures, the price of the ensembles will never cease to amaze me. Moving on to the new details we got then for the Gundam Guys generation Paptimus Scirocco and the Gundam Girls generation Emma Sheen. Along with their colored images, we now know that Scirocco will come with 2 different arm parts, one for standing with his arms folded, and then one for thinking about his next scheme, and Emma is holding on to the gift that she received from Captain Henkin. Both have been meticulously painted, and for Emma, they paid special attention to her hair. Also, since we're on the topic of her face, in the last video where I talked about the release of the Gigi figure, someone commented that the face looked kinda off, and I agree, and I have the same feeling with Emma here. It is without a doubt really nicely sculpted, but there's just something not quite Emma about it. Something that in the Gigi figure, I just chalked up to the sculptor trying to replicate the art style of Gigi's line art. So maybe they tried to do Emma in a similar style, but whatever the case might be, Mega House hopes that you will feel Emma's story through the figure. I kinda hope not, because when I spend $150 on a figure, sadness isn't something that I want to feel emanating from it. Both figures will be up for pre-order on May the 11th, which is also when the final details will be unveiled, although there's not that much more to be unveiled. Like, the only things that we don't know is if Emma's also going to come with optional parts and how Scirocco's rear looks. Although I'm sure that for certain people, those details will be very important. Also, for anyone who still needs to get their hands on a Gigi figure, I'll have it linked down below, because Hobbyling Japan actually got a few back in stock, at least at the moment of recording. Then the kinda stupid thing that really managed to catch my attention this week was the Sound Warrior Gundam Premium with amazing sound. It's a retro-styled figure that doesn't just replicate the retro proportions, but also the retro articulation. And I find the whole thing oddly charming. Like, it comes with a beam rifle, shield, standard beam saber, and bend beam saber, and as the name indicates, it can make some Gundam noises by pressing the button on his side. If it hadn't been a P-Bandai, I might have actually bought this thing. Reservations started on the 25th, and for 3,300 yen, a little under 30 US, this thing will be coming your way in June. Then in other news, the lyrics video for The Over, the theme song for Order Hunt, has been released on YouTube and is of course linked down below. The Japanese Gundam Builders World Cup will start accepting entries on May the 19th, and yet more Gundam Manholes got unveiled. In mid-June, Mibu Town will be getting RX-78-2 Gundam and Zeong-inspired manholes. Featured on the Gundam manhole are the Mibu Machi Toy Museum, a haro in the shape of a gourd, and the slogan Omacha no Machi, because Mibu is also known as Toy Town, thanks to the Toy Museum and the Bandai Museum. And that Bandai Museum is then referenced on the Zeong manhole with the steam traction engine called the Pendle Princess and a gramophone that is part of their Edison collection. And as for specialties, they've got a strawberry there. As for the things then you could get this week, the big ticket items were of course the Fukuoka Limited new Gundam things that were released alongside the opening of their big life-sized brother. There was the real grade for 4,950 yen, 45 US, the entry grade for 1,430 yen, a little over 10 US, and the BB Senshi for 1,650 yen, a little under 15 US. But there were also some regular Gunpla releases. For 880 yen, 8 US, you could either get the SDW Heroes Caesar Legend Gundam with its Crimson Lion, or the SDW Heroes Arthur Gundam Mark III with his fancy sword. And if you want to neatly paint their gold, last week Friday the Gundam Marker X White Gold and Yellow Gold shipped out for 330 yen each, or 3 US. For figures then, we got the FW Gundam Converge +3 lineup, which consists of the Atlas Gundam, the Hyakushiki Kai, the Pallas Athene, the Hildolfer, and an expansion set that comes with some goodies for all of the figures included. And one box will set you back 990 yen, or 9 US. And then throughout the week, the 21st lineup of the Mobile Suit Ensemble series has been spreading across Gachapon machines across Japan. And for 500 yen a spin, or 5 US, you can either get the GPO-1 mass production new Gundam Hazel Ozla, a ball, or a mobile suit weapon set that consists of parts for the Hazel Ozla and the mass production new Gundam. Maybe it's a good thing I can't go to Japan right now, or all of my loose change would have been assimilated into this Gachapon machine. As for this week's reading material then, there was the June issue of the monthly Hobby Japan featuring a special on how to build Gunpla, which has both old 80s models that are transformed into some absolutely amazing looking kits, and new kits like the recently released entry grade New Gundam. Then there was the June issue of the Shonen Sunday S, in which Gundam Aggressor is serialized, the June issue of Gundam Ace, which has a special on Gundam Moon, Big Comic Superior, in which Gundam Thunderbolt is being serialized, the weekly Mobile Suit Bible, this time featuring the Chimaras Vidal, the Masami Obari art book called Obarism, featuring a bunch of his famous artwork, including things from Iron Blooded Orphans, Double Zeta Gundam, the original Gundam, the Build series, and much, much more. And last but not least, there was the special May edition of Grand Jump Mucha, which has a brand new Gundam manga called Rust Horizon. And if you want to check out the first few pages, I'll have a preview linked down below. It might all be in Japanese, but I am absolutely certain that you will love the art in this manga. The characters all look very distinct from each other, and the detailing on both the tanks and the mobile suits are second to none. The story then so far is a bit more it takes place right after Garmazabi was killed, and we follow a mobile suit squadron that's then pushing into North America. So far, so good. But the thing that I'm less on board with then is that at the end, they come face to face or somehow encounter a never seen before Gundam, which I'm assuming is the one that's on the cover. Like, if we keep going at this pace with new Gundams and new special super high production machines like the Pale Riders, we're gonna get at a point where there are more of those than the actual mass production machines. Then on to this week's Gundam Apparel, and dear lord are we getting a lot of things here. First of all, we of course have a collection styled after the life-sized New Gundam. I must admit, I still think the original New Gundam's color scheme looks better, but when you put that new logo on a t-shirt, it does look really amazing in all of its retro glory. Like, I really like the t-shirt, which goes for 3,850 yen, 35 US, and the beige tote bag that goes for 2,200 yen, 20 US. Again, that retro look is just amazing. Then also included in the lineup are either a black or white t-shirt for 3,300 yen, 30 US, a zip-up hoodie for 8,250 yen, 70 US, a black tote bag for 2,200 yen, 20 US, two styles of muffler towel for 1,760 yen each, 15 US, three styles of mini towel for 880 yen each, 8 US, and a cap for 3,850 yen, 35 US. And all of these things were of course available starting the 25th. Then from Mk.III, we got a whopping 3 lineups. On the 26th, reservations opened up for the Iron-Blooded Orphans full color t-shirts. One features the Barbs in his 3rd form and the other in his 4th form, and both of the t-shirts go for 3,850 yen each, around 35 US. Then on the 27th, if you ever dreamt of becoming the Xi Gundam or the Penelope, you could reserve the corresponding MS motif t-shirt for 3,300 yen, 30 US. As always, the t-shirts have the name on the front, the allegiance symbol on the left sleeve, and their backpack, or at least part of it, on the back. And on the same day, reservations also started for the 4th lineup of Gundam full color t-shirts. For 3,850 yen, 35 US, you can get a black t-shirt with either a Dom, Goof, RX-78-2, or 3 different versions of Char. Because Char Azabel merch is always 3 times more plenty than your average merch. We've got Char's Zaku hanging out in space, being 3 times faster with a very nice movement effect, or him leading 4 standard Zakus into battle, which I think is my personal favorite of the 3, or of the 6 even. And all of these Mk.III items are currently slated for a June release. Strict G then also had a field day with their collaborations this week. Starting last week Friday, they started selling 5 different shirts in collaboration with Japanese clothing brand Hitoyoshi. For 15,180 yen, 120 US, you can get yourself an Oxford t-shirt in either Earth Federation Navy, Zeon Forces Olive, or Char Custom White, and for 16,500 yen, around 130 US, you can get yourself a loose fit t-shirt in either Earth Federation White or Char Custom Black. And then today, they decided to unleash a whopping 3 collaborations at once. Together with Ichizawa Shinzaburo Hampu, they created some fancy tote bags for the equally fancy price of 15,400 yen, 120 US, and the available designs are Earth Federation, Zeon, and Red Comet. Although I must admit I'm not exactly a fan of the Zeon design because that Giran Zabi shape looks kinda ghostly. In collaboration then with Kyo-Kaira, they released a bunch of Hathaway's Flash-inspired items, all of which with either the Mk./T logo or the famous pumpkin mask. There is a macaron-shaped charm for 2,200 yen, 20 US, a coin pouch for 2,750 yen, 25 US, a business card holder / mini wallet for 5,500 yen, 45 US, and a long wallet for 7,700 yen, 65 US. And then they collabed again with Patrick to bring us some very nice looking Gundam inspired sneakers. For 22,500 yen a pair, 180 US, you can either get a Federation, Zeon, or Char inspired version. And I'm especially pleased with how the Federation version turned out. Because when it comes to faction inspired stuff, you can almost always be sure that Char and Zeon are gonna get something really cool. Like, Char's usually red with some black, and then Zeon colors are always some kind of green and brown, which also looks really good. But then the Federation, with their bright white, yellow, blue, and red, they have a much bigger tendency to come off as childlike or toy-like, which is absolutely not the case here. And also today, they released the 20th anniversary Gundam Seed collection. First of all, damn, Gundam Seed is becoming 20 years old. That makes me feel old. But if you want to join in on the festivities, you can get a white Strike Gundam or black Aegis Gundam t-shirt for 4,180 yen, 35 US, a red t-shirt that was inspired by the one worn by Kigali in the anime for 4,180 yen, and for 1,980 yen, 15 US, you can also get some dog tags to complete the outfit. Then there's also a Navy Archangel or Black Zaft hoodie for 8,580 yen, 75 US, and for the same price, you can also get a jacket in either white with an Archangel theme or in black with a Zaft theme. I mean, yeah, they're not technically wrong that there is some black on the jacket, but I also wouldn't say that they're right. Like, I would say that that is a red jacket. And then finally for 2,750 yen, 25 US, you can get a cute Haro tote bag, and for 880 yen a pop, 8 US, you can get pins of Zaft, the Ale Strike, the Aegis, or the Archangel. And then also today, the stage production of 00 started selling some of their goodies. There's a brochure for 2,000 yen, 15 US, a visual book for also 2,000 yen, a bromide set for 400 yen each, 4 US, random bromides for 200 yen each, 2 US, random can badges for 500 yen each, 5 US, and acrylic stands for 1,200 yen each, around 10 US. And then let's quickly wrap up this week's quite long Gundam news with some polls. For the occasion of the life-sized new Gundam opening up, Gundam.info wanted to know which thing we were looking forward to the most. And the long-range fin funnel completely crushed the opposition with 66%. I don't think anyone is surprised by that. It is a really cool addition, and it's also really neat to see like how the different model kits and action figures interpreted it, and then also to see like what kind of things it can do. Like, it's a fin funnel, it's a beam saber, it's a giant beam cannon, it's a bit of everything, and it just goes really well with the new Gundam. And then we had a three-way battle for second place between the remaining options. There was the fact that it is the highest Gundam statue to date with 12.8%, the movement of the right arm and head with 11%, and then in last place the highly saturated tricolor color scheme, of which I forgot to write down the percentage, but it was 10 point something. But I wholeheartedly agree with the author that the actual biggest point of attraction is going to be simply going there, admiring the new Gundam, and looking at all of the little details that it's got. As for the ongoing poll then, the 9th of May is Gogg Day. Gogg. So, Gundam.info wanted to know which one our favorite is, and so far, the results are pretty interesting. With 35 votes, we have the Gogg that appears in Double Zeta Gundam, which was pretty unique, let's say, along with the other things that appeared in that episode, and almost beat out the very nice looking Thunderbolt design that only got 41 votes, which is honestly quite surprising, because I do think that it looks better than the regular Gogg, which is so far in second place with 140 votes. But the uncontested winner so far, but I think we can already safely assume that it is going to be the uncontested winner, is the High Gogg with 326 votes. Without a doubt, the best looking one. Now, if only it could get a better Gunpla. Whether a new high grade or, you know what, maybe just go for a really awesome looking master grade with some extra detailing on it. Or like an RE100. That would be perfect. And that has been all for this week's Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.